Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibi are back from their latest adventure.
Hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is the 6th of January 2023. We've started the new year and we have a new beginning, 2023, with Phoenix Fire. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. And as always, we have next to me the lovely and talented Chibi. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Fantastic. It's been a day, though. It's been a week.
It has.
Oof. Yeah. So for those who did not bump into our post out, we have bumped into some audio issues with the podcast we're trying to get out. So we did a little poll, and everybody said, "Hey, even if the audio is icky and it doesn't sync up with the video." Go ahead and just put it out because they want to see it anyway. So we're fighting through a few episodes right now, and once we get those fought down, we'll be posting them up. But yeah, be prepared. Sync issues inbound.
Also, if I could real quick, I think since it's a new year and there's some new people here, it'd be a good idea to kind of re-explain who we are.
Le Gasper, explain. Tell people who I am. Wait, you go first.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am TV. We used to not do VTubers, but we recently, as of October last year, swapped over to VTubing. And I am VTubing as my future character in Ashes of Creation, which is a Pyre. And I'm hoping to be able to try out Cleric, but it's based off of my D&D character. So this is Aurelia, my D&D character, but as a Pyre for Ashes. And I here with Vertek make a podcast here called the Golden Feather Tavern. And we like to introduce and chat with people from the community, like our guest over here.
Yeah, I'm Vertek. I'm just a guy. I do things. Yeah, I'm looking to go tank when Ashes launches, and I will be a Vec. So, thus this beautiful Vec face here.
Thank you, Gruntag, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. And also, our guest today is not Yokai Theater. I have just turned the bot off for a moment until I can get that adjusted.
Yeah. But yeah, so wow, thank you so much, you guys. Level 4, oh my gosh.
Holy
I don't
mackerel.
think we've ever hit that. Wow. Thank you.
What? Goodness.
I'm flabbergasted.
Thank
I don't know what to say. I'm
everybody.
sorry.
Much appreciated.
yeah,
choo-choo
thank you.
indeed.
Oh, you know what? I think that deserves a cheers. What do you think?
I think it does.
Shall we?
We shall.
1, 2,
Oh.
3. Oh. I was trying to do it at the same time. Yeah, you did.
I was way too eager.
I was late. Sorry.
I was late.
Didn't see it coming.
So as you can tell, we have some changes to our VTube models. We have full body at this time, and we're a little bit more expressive than we used to be. And so this is thanks to you guys helping and supporting us last year, and we were able to get improvements done. But as I was going to say before I got distracted by the hype train announcement, Phoenix Fire, would you like to tell everybody who you are and what you're doing and the kind of content that you plan to make eventually?
Oh, yeah, sure. So I'm Phoenix Fire. Hey, been part of this community for a little while now, maybe a year and a half, give or take. I can't believe it's episode 150 already.
Right?
It's wild.
Yeah.
Wild. But I've been following Ashes for, probably, what are we, 2023 now? So probably about 3 years, 3.5 years, maybe even. Also plan on playing an orc tank.
Ooh.
I haven't decided if I'm going Vec or probably Vec, but we'll see. So I might have that in common for tech. I don't know. It depends on my guild too. Big shout out to my guild. Yeah, Vera Mercantile Company, best guild in the game.
There you go. There you go.
In the game, as if the game is out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can claim that because nobody can prove me wrong. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, take the wins where you can.
Exactly.
Right.
Probably, as the guild name kind of gives away, probably doing a lot of crafting, merchant-y type stuff. So probably a lot of focus on that end of the game, but definitely do intend on doing a little bit of raiding and PvE kind of stuff. Maybe touch on some PvP, see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be all around fun times. And until the game launches, I've got my eye on a few other games, so just all around fun.
Yeah. Which games particular are you looking out for?
This is a pretty loaded year for me. Like in about a month and a half, Hogwarts Legacy is coming out. I'm kind of excited for that. Bit of a Harry Potter nerd.
Yes. I'm Hufflepuff, by the way.
Oh, nice. Let's see. I don't really remember orders, but Diablo 4 in June. That'll be fun. I think. We'll see. Got kind of burned on the last one, but hopefully it'll be a little bit better this time around. I can't even think of anything else off the top of my head, but I know there's a few other games.
Are you looking at Throne and Liberty at all?
Not really.
No.
I'm probably not gonna pick up any new MMOs until Ashes.
That's fair. Vertec and I recently got back into World of Warcraft Classic specifically, but that's because our guild kind of quote unquote pressured us into it.
Yes.
So we've been enjoying that, but it's been very helpful because when you haven't played a game for a while, you kind of forget some of the things that you either love or hate about it. And with Classic, I'm at least able to re-experience the game that I remember playing, since looking at Dragonflight is so different.
It really is. Now, when you say Classic, do you mean like Vanilla Classic or Wrath of the Lich King Classic?
We're doing Wrath.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've thought about jumping in, but...
Well, actually, it was funny because I had told Vertec I didn't want to jump in at first because I thought you had to re-buy all of the base game like boxes, and I was just like, no, I already bought that before. Like, why would I buy that again?
Why would I do it again?
Yeah, and actually, it turned out to just be the $15 a month sub fee, and I was like, it's not so bad. But
perfect.
We have a lot to talk about today for our new beginning, and these are going to be some of the topics we're going to be covering, but not necessarily in any particular order. So we're going to be talking about tanks, we're going to be talking about in-game systems, and some other random topics that have to do with it. But I would like to talk... I'd like to start with the systems and then go to tanks, because that kind of goes really well with the Ashes news that's been coming out. Sorry, I was talking really fast. I don't know why. I just got like anxious. But with the official news, they were talking about the tank questions for the dev discussions topic, and then they put out a cute little video that they've been doing about the golem. So that'll kind of tie those in. But we'll start off with the systems, and the first one I want to talk about. Well, actually, since you're the guest, is there anything in the topic 2 section of the systems? Is there any of those that you're interested in talking about first, or kind of
look at game economy stuff? That obviously is something I'm pretty focused on.
Let's start with that one then. So basically, this is from Vishan and Chips. And they're basically worrying about the player-run economy being able to thrive. They need equipment decay, so there's always a demand for equipment, and just wondering about you know, if that the way that Ashes is planning to do it will fall into being kind of obsolete, and they're just worried about, like, between the equipment decay and then the materials for repairing and stuff like that, if that's going to pose an issue. And I wanted to know actually your thoughts, since, you know, your guild focuses on this stuff. You go first.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not. I think I want to see a little bit more about how they plan on kind of organizing this and what they want to do with it. But
a lot does remain to be seen.
Yeah, with most of the topics. But what we have seen so far, I do like that there is sort of a plan in place, like with decay and everything, so that you can't just run around with best in slot and never have to worry about it, because nobody needs that. That's just terrible. But I do agree they could probably go a little further with it, just to kind of keep things relevant for longer, different materials and stuff, which would be really great. I see. Durability loss. I'd like to see how quickly you lose durability, and if there's anything that kind of spikes it where it just kind of breaks right away. I'm sure something to do with corruption is tied into that somehow. As for repairing, I just need to see what sort of materials they're talking about and how difficult those materials are to obtain before really having like a full opinion. Yeah,
I think they're just talking about, like, in general, because Stephen, I think, had mentioned that you'd need materials in general to repair your stuff. And so, I mean, they probably, without that knowledge, right, they're probably also like, I think it would depend on what materials, like, that could cause an issue, that might not cause an issue. So it's like, a lot of this is very vague, right? Because we don't have that information to back these better questions.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But,
yeah, I think it's a good point that they do make in there about normally an easy come easy go type of setup is what you see often, where your gear is easy to come by, but you also wear through it really quickly. But honestly, I kind of like, at least in theory and on paper, how they're going about it with Ashes, where everything is going to be harder to get a hold of, and it's going to require constant effort to maintain, but it's going to be really good and interesting to see that the best gear is going to come from actual people crafting it instead of just drops.
Right.
Yeah.
So people are going to actually really want to maintain that also, because they're going to have to go back to the same kind of people to get everything all repaired, right?
That's me. You can come see me.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that'll be great. I do like. Well, actually, I'm not sure if I like it. I kind of like this idea that they had mentioned in the top post here, that you can, when repairing or when losing durability, you can also lose max durability, so that eventually, I assume that means that eventually it would become completely unrepairable. Eventually it's garbage.
Yeah. And then
eventually you need to take your repair crafter along on the raid with you, and after every fight, all right, repair me.
Yeah, I have one durability. I can only take one hit.
Yeah. I think I feel like that would be an interesting thing. Again, with you, kind of, or drop repair bot. With you, I would also have to say I need more information to kind of decide on that, because if it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it depends on how quickly that is decaying. And if it's too quickly and I'm constantly having to replace gear, then that's a frustration, because I'm focused now on constantly replacing my gear instead of progressing in the game. But if it's too slow, then, well, I can wait a little bit longer and then, maybe do a different gear altogether, which may not be a bad thing, but it means that people that make that gear, if you are making it in bulk, for example, may not actually see much of a return on that. So it'll be interesting because, I mean, after all, the best gear is supposed to be crafted, according to Steven. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing to chat about and consider. And I'm interested in seeing what Intrepid has to say about it. The next thing I wanted to chat, because these are kind of unrelated, but in terms of being game systems, about basic attacks in games. So somebody was playing Outworld lately, and I'm going to go ahead and pop this into... Ooh, actually, that's a great question, Magisto. Do you think legendary items or very rare items should be indestructible? I think they should be darn near it. Not quite indestructible, but very close to it, where it feels like it's indestructible.
I'd be okay if there's like one or two like super legendary kind of items that had that property, but I don't think it should be shared by like everything at a certain tier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Vertek, do you think...
Man,
Sorry.
see, that's tough because you figure part of the reason they're legendary, right, is because they lasted so long. They've lasted through the ages. They've seen some major battles and such. So, I'm not sure if necessarily completely indestructible, but maybe they should come with like double the durability.
Ooh,
'Cause it should,
yeah.
if anything else, if you can take that and hand it off to somebody else, like sell it off in a way to someone else to use for a bit. You could end up using that item for like, say, just for random example, like a normal top tier item will have 100 durability. Maybe a legendary or like the super rare stuff comes with like 300 durability.
Right. And
So
that's
then
kind of what I was getting to as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, indoors.
Silverin, welcome in. Actually, Silverin is the one that is the author of the post that I was about to bring up. So
Good timing.
Silverin, right? Silverin also says if you haven't played Outworld yet, check it out on Steam. So might have to give that a look. But Silverin says, I've been playing a lot of Outworld lately, and its basic attack system is extremely interesting. There's more than left mouse button. In fact, you can left mouse button and middle mouse button to form a variety of maneuvers in conjunction with movement. Anyone else play games that have pretty interesting basic attack systems? And I just kind of wanted to take a pause real quick on the left mouse versus middle mouse. And I think that would be interesting with the action combat system that Intrepid is kind of going for with the hybrid thing. So,
There could definitely be something there.
that is a great question, Papa Frost. I actually have the same thing that I'm going to save it, but I have the same thing that that Paradox has, where if you not hydrate, I'm reading the wrong thing. Highlight your message. Oh my gosh, I'm a mess. If you highlight your message, it'll save it for us. Oh my goodness. I quit.
That's
Somebody
fantastic.
else talk, please.
Done with speaking today. Done with speaking.
Yeah. Reached the max for the week. Time to turn it off. Oh, that's cool.
Sorry, left mouse button, middle mouse button, action combat, go.
Yeah. I haven't really played too many action combat games, so I'm kind of interested in kind of testing that out. A lot of what I play is mostly tab target or kind of click target, so I don't know on that one, honestly. But as for just interesting basic attacks, I would be up for not super boring, just, chopping away.
Yeah.
Like when someone says a game has a lot of auto attacking or basic attacking, it makes me think of RuneScape, and that's not necessarily a good thing.
It's not a good first thought. Not a good first thought.
It's not exactly winning any awards for its combat design. So
That's fair.
Yeah, so I have always had an issue with, and I don't even know why, my brain just doesn't want to process it, so I never get around to trying to learn it, and that's learning to use all 3 buttons on a mouse for all activities. Because people have like, the index finger on the left mouse, ring finger on the right mouse, and then the middle finger just there on the middle mouse button, right? That's how some people do it. I can't get my brain to process that. I need to practice. I know practice makes perfect, but one of these days I need to sit down and just force myself to do that for an entire game session, at least one game session. That way I can start to get it in my mind to do that, because it unlocks so much more you can do with, you know, your mouse even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bumped into some games that use the middle mouse button for a lot of stuff, and it's always made my brain go, ow, ouch, ouch. You're abusing me.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be kind of similar to like Genshin Impact in a way, with the way that they're clicking to do the attacks? Do you remember, or has it been too long?
It's been a minute. Oh man, I don't think we picked up Genshin in like 2 years.
That's fair.
I've never played, so you're further ahead than me.
Well, I remember Genshin having a right left maybe. I could be wrong, absolutely, but I remember it having like a click to attack, probably because it's also available on mobile, so you can like use your finger to attack.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of liked the way that felt a little bit, because it definitely felt good swinging the weapon around. I don't really play too many action games either, so like the left-right thing is interesting to me. But I guess, you know, also I've never played with a Razor Naga until I got one, and then, you know, that took some time and practice, and once I figured out how to play with that, you know, it's pretty much the go-to at this point. So I guess it's one of those things of muscle memory and hand movement and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're saying with the Naga, it took me, oh man, I want to say it took me a good month or two to just figure out how to use the Naga and do it halfway decently.
Yeah. And then you just get better and better, and you just know exactly where the buttons are, and you just go for it. Now
I want to buy like 7 of them to keep a couple in the closet in case one breaks. I'll always have one sitting there waiting, and if they stop making them, I'll have Nagas for years. It'll be fine.
So actually, Papa Frost, going back to the topic about durability, Papa Frost says, hello, Ash Listener. In Paradox's chat earlier, we were talking about repairing items. Do you think that items should decrease in durability the more times that they are repaired?
Yeah, that's what was in the forum post too, and I'm cool with that. Like, eventually, it makes sense. Like, even just kind of from a I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm done with English too.
No more English today.
So, yeah, the more you, beat on a sword with a hammer to repair it, the weaker it's going to become, and eventually you're not going to be able to repair it anymore. Makes sense.
But now, looking at that, what if things did decrease in durability, but there were a way to process more materials into it and basically rebuild it?
Like, say, magic? Enchant that shit.
Yeah, I mean, even enchanting it would be a thing too. Sure, absolutely. But almost like if you take a piece to like a master crafter, even if they don't have the recipe, they could take, say, the majority of the materials that would be required to make it again, but not all the materials, and just kind of like reforge it. Because they can kind of use that current item as the plan and say, okay, I see how this works. I see how it's going together. They could break it down and basically melt the metal pieces down and add more metal to it, strengthen it back up, and make it a new piece of gear, but you've had to reintroduce like 75% of the materials again or something, but not quite all the materials.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
So some of what chat is saying, welcome in, by the way, Tilly53. I'll just call you Tilly. Tilly says, I wouldn't want this to be the case. I think repairing is fine, but losing durability would feel like an arbitrary thing. And I mean, that's kind of going back to what I was saying before. It depends on how quickly you lose durability and things like that. Because if it's too quick, then I'm more focused on that instead of whatever I'm trying to do. But if it's too slow, then like there's no reason for like crafters to constantly pump out gear for people to buy. except for maybe the mass quantity of people. Aside from that, but Nair says, I am cool with finite lifetimes on stuff. It worked well in DAOC, and I'm not really sure what DAOC is.
Dark Age of Camelot.
Okay, cool. Papa Frost says, I like the idea of increasing the durability by pretty much reforging the item. Yeah, I liked that too. When I was listening to you guys chatting, I liked the idea of you could go to somebody, either a master forger or somebody like an enchanter, and restore the max durability. And to Basil's point, that would kind of be unfair to the tanks who take more damage, because that's the point of the tank, right?
Yep.
I heard you making these.
Yeah, I have. See, that's one of my opinionated topics, friend. You've struck a nerve.
Hating on the tanks. You got 2 tanks here. Like,
raiding is more expensive for 2 roles, and that's tanking and healing. Tanking because you're gonna have, if you do your job right and everyone else does their job right, you're gonna have like 90% of the repair bill of the entire raid as a tank. Now, healers, they use pots and whatnot like crazy more often than everybody else. Even though they're casters doing damage, like casters doing damage are going to use pots if they do it religiously, and they're like super like on the cutting edge core of raiding. They're going to use them on cooldown and such. But aside from them, healers are usually waiting, like they have their finger hovering over that mana pot button. Like, okay, my mana is low enough that I could use it. I'm going to use it. Just so that it's off of cooldown when they need it again later. So those are the two roles that really use a lot more money in raiding. But that's why I've always been a fan of, yes, give ranged people ammunition to spend money on. Give casters reagents to spend money on. It's a pain in the neck thing, but it equalizes the spending for a raid.
We are talking about the durability. I was trying to type this out, but I was looking it up at the same time. Snickers, we're talking about gear durability, and every time that you had a repair, the durability possibly going down, like maximum durability. And so Basil was saying that would be unfair towards tanks. But Ashes in Air says heavy armor could just be more durable than light armor. And I mean, that's fair. Fabric rips so much more easily than something that's like made out of heavy metal.
And you know what? And that's something I've thought of before too, but I have never ever once seen a game actually do that.
Yeah. Papa Frost. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
It was basically done. Okay. But yeah, I've never really seen a game have it to where a tank, a healer, a ranger, and a rogue and a fighter can go into a dungeon and come out with a relatively equal repair bill, or even closely equal. True. It's like, no, those other people all have like 1 gold they gotta spend, and the tank has to drop 7-8 gold.
Yeah. Papa Frost says it could work in a way that you lose durability with both taking damage as well as using an item. Not sure if it would end up being fair as it losing similar durability. Yeah, Magista. I think that's pretty much what Ashes and Air was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
How would you, just because my brain started working, how would we feel about a bard buff that reduced durability loss?
I like that idea. Yeah. Actually, you are perfectly in sync, because we're going to go talk about buff effects next.
Excellent.
So yeah, I mean, I think that would be really cool, because so Duvoon says in some old games you could have passive and active buffs that would have an effect. For example, a shield buff would make a bubble around you, or attack speed buff would make your weapon glow. Newer games seem to make buffs have an effect then disappear after some time. I was just wondering, would it be possible to make spells stay visible till the effect wears off? And I think that's really cool, because that's like a visual cue for maybe the bard who's putting the buffs on, seeing where the buffs are falling off, aside from like looking at like a little icon that falls off. But the other part, because I just enjoy buff conversations in general. But the other part of this is I wanted to talk about what you brought up actually, which is just buff conversations in general. So
as far as like the visual clutter end of it, like visually being able to see stuff, I like a little bit more minimalistic. Like I'm the guy that will complain in the raid that like I can't see what's going on and I lose my cursor on the screen because all the visual nonsense and fireworks going off, and
I lose my cursor too. It's okay.
Yeah. So the less going on, the happier I am. So I'm happy with like a reasonably easy to see icon somewhere that tells you different buffs, debuffs that are happening. But I mean, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing at Nur.
Yeah, Nur's had a couple good ones in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the buffs and such go, like, as much as I like the idea of something like that, having all of the buffs, like they're talking about, just stay visible until they go away, I think that would just be absolutely insane in the viewport. I think it would be nice to do something like that for things like, because everybody knows World of Warcraft references, something like Bloodlust. Like if you're out in a PvP, 250 versus 250 situation, and you see 20 people running at you with a very obvious Bloodlust buff, you're gonna know to avoid. Like just dodge them for like 20 seconds or something. Just duck and hide. Don't engage. And same point if you're already fighting them and then suddenly you see their entire side just start glowing red with angry face because they have the Ash's version of a lust buff, then all right, time to pack up, guys.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably still gonna engage, but just dive right in.
But something like that, I think, like the very powerful buffs that have a really long cooldown, sure, let them have their own certain things so they stand out as being the powerful buffs and debuffs that they are.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I also would like to see if there's a way to like turn off other people's effects. So as the bard, you are the only one seeing all this stuff going off. And then that way you're not seeing, kind of like with the last live stream game showing with the cleric and the fighter, you see the fighter's effects going off, you see the cleric's effects going off, and those are all neat, like individually. But I think it'd be better to be maybe as the cleric turn off the fighter and other people's abilities so that I just see where my stuff is landing, because after a certain point in time, that would probably get a little confusing on like, okay, wait, is that mine or is that another cleric's? And that way it just removes any confusion. Like, okay, that's for sure mine. But also I'm sure that would help with, some older PCs being able to run that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And as long as it's toggleable, do whatever you need to do. As long as I can turn it off, I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Weka. I'll see you
Weka, and thank you.
I was thinking of calling them replay crew. I kind of call them replay crew in my head because I've heard other people call them that. But hey, I like it. It sticks. So you are supposed to be able to control what effects you see. Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that mentioned it.
I like how Snickers says, I mean, you're allowed to engage. Dying is fun too.
Yeah. If they have a defense buff plus an offensive buff, I want to see them have blue. Interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I think dying is not going to be a good thing in Ashes. Not fun.
Probably not with all the XP.
Yeah.
Let's see, but bard buffs should be dependent on the position relative to allies.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. So, like, if you're standing closer to your allies, it's stronger? Is that what you're kind of getting?
Oh, okay. Yeah, if it's that way.
And also maybe for a bard, about even being in front or behind. Like if you hear somebody behind you playing a guitar or something, you're not going to hear it quite as well as if they were standing to the side or in front of you, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it kind of gives off like a cascading effect where like the further away from it you are, the less of the buff you get.
Yeah.
So then you're going to want kind of literally the bard to be like the center of the raid. To get like, if it was that case, right, to get the most effect. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Nira says, I really, really hope the settings aren't too binary on or off. I want sliders for scaling down the LOD to a point where it's still clear what's going on, but low-key. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good piece of feedback for Intrepid and Ash's forums to give, because maybe I'd be interested in something like that. I might turn off other people's stuff, but I think having that capability though, because they always want to know what people want in terms of UI and modulation. So yeah.
Sliders would be good. I like that idea.
Yeah. Moving into our tank topics,
Right.
which you two are super excited for. I am, however, a healer, so I might have little to no input on this. But people wanted to talk about threat generation by numbers. And I was interested in kind of chatting about this because I think you two would have the most idea on like what that is. I know that with playing World of Warcraft Classic, at the very least, Druid Bear Tink threat has been an issue for Vertec for the level that we currently are.
Oh.
But Nover Callus says, I don't think the topic should be solely focused on tanks, but for every class having an impact to threat itself. So they're using a 5-man party, for example, to formulate how the threat should work, assuming that you are max level. So the cleric, wizard, rogue, enchanter, and tank. Tank, for every 1 point of damage from basic or ability creatures, creates 4 points of threat. So for 1 point of damage, you get 4 points of threat. And then you would have like a hate, which creates instantly 5,000 points of threat. No effect in PvP, of course, with a 30-second cooldown. Shield bash would like have 250 points of damage or 1,000 threat, so on and so forth. You guys can go in and read the nitty gritty for yourselves, but you kind of get the point. What are your thoughts?
Oh, Vertec, you should go first since your bear druid got called out.
So yeah, that's one funny thing that a lot of games do with when it comes to tanks is they'll design the end game tank, and then they'll just strip things away, saying, "Hey, they should totally learn this other stuff first. But we'll take this one out until later on down the road," which ends up creating issues like with the bear tank early on, having resource issues. You don't really get decent resource management capability in your own hands until like halfway through the game. And then even at that point, you still don't really have it in your hand. It's based on chance, getting crits and dodges. But I like the idea of creating something that's a little bit simpler when it comes to threat generation, because it seems like there's some games that get really complicated with stuff like if you do this or you do that, then it does this and whatever. I do always like the idea of giving a tank just a couple seconds at least to build up some threat, because it just feels more accurate, I guess. And if nothing else, then they can taunt something back, but always go ham like right off the bat, and it drives me bonkers. It drives me bonkers, especially after being told like, "Hey, I need a minute. Give me count to 5. Okay, just 5. The 5 is all you got to do. Count to 5.
Yeah.
1, 2, attack. No, shoot.
No, that was wrong.
1, 2, 5.
Yeah. Or you've even pulled, you just see your mage like casting a big nuke, and you're like, "Oh, this is gonna go well." Like,
Right.
Get ready with a taunt. Like,
Well, see, hey, maybe that could be the way to start the raid. How about this? Look to the mage that has the 4-second wind up. As soon as their attack hits, then you can attack. Ready, set,
There
go.
you
Yep. Yeah, that could work. The threat thing is it's a tough one to balance, I think, but hopefully that's something I haven't talked about it enough that I think it'll be part of Alpha 2
Mhm.
in any sort of final form, but hopefully in one of the betas they've got it sort of ironed out to the point where it's we can have a real discussion of if it's good or not good or whatever,
Right.
how it needs to be tuned. But like the last game that I've been playing that I've been tanking in is Final Fantasy 14, and I mean there's no threat. Like you just poke the boss and
Yeah.
it's on you, and that's that.
Yeah.
So it's not really a good comparison at all.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I think Vertec got especially frustrated with Final Fantasy 14 because there wasn't that where's my threat generation? Why can't I keep aggro? Stuff like that. It became very easy over time.
Yeah.
Looking
I
at
have
you
the same
guys.
problem.
Phoenix is that's exactly correct, Snickers. We don't know. Oh, Snickers has decided you're a Tilnar.
Phoenix is Tilnar. Yep.
Absolutely correct. 1000%.
Accurate statement.
Yes.
But
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I definitely always like there to be a balance. I like it to be somewhat of a fight. I don't like games that make threat generation like I can stand in a corner and auto attack and I'll never lose threat.
Yeah.
It was incredibly boring. Like that's got to be part of the game of being a tank. Like you've got other stuff to do, but keep threat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't like it when it's like crazy difficult where you're just constantly losing it, even if you're kind of keeping up really well. Like just one big attack from a mage or a ranger or whatever, and boss is running away. Like off we go.
Yeah.
Like, it should be sort of a balance, I guess, at least for me. I'm also not a super hardcore gamer. I don't play 10 hours a day. I play 10 hours a week. So, I'm not as good at doing these things as maybe some other people are.
I wanted to quickly go back because I feel like this is important. We don't want chat to get too far behind the topic, but Silverin says, I just hope it's not draw aggro, hold block in a corner, and then burn boss.
Yeah.
Like there is an ESO. And Sir Unsington says, let the mage attack first. I think Vertec is looking out for his repair bill, letting the mage take the first aggro like that. But there is a such thing in terms of planning out in terms of my healing, where I start to precast and get prepared for when I know the bigger damage is coming in, especially if I know my cast is going to take longer. Like, for example, I'm playing a shaman right now, and one of my healing, I think, is 3 seconds long. So I begin precasting that right about the time I'm expecting him to take a bunch of damage. And I think that's not a bad idea, because if you have somebody who knows what they're doing with that and isn't just casting willy-nilly, but they're like, okay, if I begin this cast now, knowing my tank specifically, by the time the tank grabs aggro of everything and everything's good, then my attack will hit, and then, that'll be obvious for all the melee users who have the instant attacks to just go in and grab it. I was also gonna say Neris was looking at the wiki for the whole bard formation thing, but I think they might have depreciated it. It was something about ground templates that require the party to raid to move into and out of formations indicated by the template to gain added buffs or benefits. Interesting. I didn't really know that.
Makes sense though.
Maybe they dropped the idea again. It seems a little silly to me anyway. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It kind of depends. I feel like that kind of ends up being Shaman's Nome of Us class, and wow, you spelled druid wrong. But I think, what am I trying to say? Sorry, give me a second to clarify thoughts. I think that would be interesting, and maybe a little bit in the way of raids or boss fights, because then your instead of being able to get out of any damage that might come in the middle of the template being down, you're focused on being in a template to get a buff. And it's one of those things, I'm not sure how it'd work out, but I wouldn't be against trying it out.
Actually, never mind. I was in favor of it until I compared it to, again, Final Fantasy XIV with black mages and their ley lines.
Yeah.
And that is annoying as hell. So no, I don't want any part of that.
Tilly says, that's why I never built classic tank in ESO. My tanks are always more than a tank. Yeah. Same as defining how active blocking will work, because it might not be a threat generation, but very important topic in terms of tank. And it seems that Intrepid didn't figure out how it will work yet. Yeah, I think maybe they have ideas for how stuff will work, but maybe haven't decided which way to go officially with things. By the way, hello, Meat Hooks. A lot of MMOs does that in terms of tanking a boss, no? Does what exactly?
Probably the grab enemy, stand in corner.
Oh yeah.
In
terms of that,
common, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the more common things, because it's like they don't do anything really complicated, and that's the other half. Like the one half of the tank game is, yes, keeping threat and having something to actually do there. Like just doing your standard rotation or what have you should basically maintain threat. But that means you're at least making sure that you're hitting your proper buttons, and you're stabbing them here, doing that there. Proper buttons is up for debate. It doesn't necessarily need to be a proper rotation. It doesn't necessarily need to be a priority list, but just whatever works for that situation and that fight, if you're doing it correctly, should help you maintain aggro. But if you start slacking, then you're going to start losing aggro for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And then you got to fight to get it back. But the other part of the tank game is knowing what the hell to do with the boss in which situation. And if that part of the game is boring, it's also going to be a not fun time.
Right. Hello, Overthrow. Yeah. Overthrow says, remember, no threat meters in Ashes. So there is a limit of threat information players will have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll know you pulled threat when the boss tries to smash your face.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like that's where it kind of becomes hard, because as a tank, the reason I think why they stand in the corner is because they're trying to make sure absolutely that the thing is not facing towards the party. But what if there is no corner? What do you do then? Like, for example, them with a golem in the middle of the cemetery there. But I think, I know you're joking, Snickers, but like, I think there should be some sort of other way of generating threat. I think that would be cool. But that's coming from a perspective of somebody who does not play tank. So take my answer or my thought with a grain of salt. But I think it would be kind of cool if the more you attack something, the more threat you're able to get.
Yeah, see, I'm thinking that most, if not all, tank abilities should generate more threat in the same way that every DPS ability should generate threat, and every healer ability should generate threat. Like, every ability should generate threat. I just think a tank should generate more, because their attack should be geared and designed towards pissing off the thing they're attacking.
Yeah.
So instead of just like a regular swipe, you're going to swipe at things that are like more painful rather than actually like hurtful for your health and life force. And, or, more embarrassing or whatever, like slicing off like, portions of a pant leg or something, so that the, boots start digging into their leg instead of just being on the outside of it. Silly stuff like that. Like, in theory, like outside of game, obviously that'd be crazy detailed to do in game, but things like that. Like, the tank should be doing things purposely to piss off the other people. Yeah, exactly. Flipping the bird. Like, a shield bash isn't going to be just to bash him in the face with a shield. It's going to be like a little bit of a mocking, that type of thing. So everyone should
on their toe.
Oh my gosh, Snickers.
Skin the boss, he'd hate you. Yeah, exactly. See, you get it.
Yeah, that's how you
this
do
guy
it right
gets
there.
it.
Papa Frost, that's a great question, actually.
Oh yeah.
Papa Frost says, thoughts on having tank as your second augment? Would that possibly add threat to your base class abilities? I think it should, because if a whatever X tank can be a viable off tank or secondary tank, then yes, because there needs to be a reason why that person is a viable off tank. Besides just having, because it's augmenting your abilities, so it's not your armor unless you're already wearing heavy armor. So I imagine it'd probably have something to do with threat.
Or maybe crowd control.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. I think the ability to turn on and off threat generation is going to be key for a tank also, because there should be an amplified amount of threat that is given out by tank abilities when it comes to like the damage done or healing done versus threat gained from it. Mm-hmm. Because again, you're not just like trying to attack with the sword to try to take out some life force. You're trying to be annoying with it and piss them off. So you've got to have a tank technique that pisses them off while you're doing your activities. But if you're not trying to take threat, then you should just not do it in the annoying way. Therefore, you're not gaining that extra threat. Yeah. But I think that like a tank secondary should be able to turn that capability on because they've studied the ways of the tank.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. Say.
And so they know how to annoy an enemy so that they come after them.
Well, okay. So, by the way, for those of you that don't know, we are a conversational first podcast, and we love differing opinions. So, Meat Hook says no. I asked why, and Meat Hook says it should make you more durable, but not add threat that could get annoying. It's kind of like you creating 24 tank classes.
Well, 16 really, because there'd be the 8 primary tanks and the 8 secondary tanks. But so here's so I already did a little bit of theory crafting on how it's going to work. So with Mage, they've already said Steven's already said something along the lines of you can choose different augments. Like you can get lightning augment, you can get fire augment, you can get ice augment, or something along those lines. There's like an elemental school of augments. Well, the tank could have mitigation augments, they could have threat augments, they could have say just straight health and durability or stamina augments, something like that, or crowd control augments. It could end up being those could be the schools. And yeah, if you take the threat school, you could choose to add threat to certain things if you wanted to for your build for that day. And then because they said you'll be able to change up your secondary archetype and options and stuff like that in town, so you go back to town and say, hey, today's not the threat day, today I'm going all crowd control because we're going PvP or what have you. But those could literally be the schools that are given as tank augments for your secondary.
I could also see that having more of a reason to have diverse tanks at higher levels, because if a fight is known to be, or if a fight is found out to be rather more of a crowd control based fight, then you'd say, okay, whoever plays this type of tank primary, let's swap you out for a different boss or whatever, and have the CC primary tanking person come in and focus on this. And I feel like that could offer a lot more in terms of PvE, a lot more possibilities, and giving a nice spread to the tanks instead of like, oh, well, we already have a tank. We actually have like 3 of them, but we only use 2. I feel like it might add a little bit more usage for that. But I also wonder how that's going to affect things like PvP, because if you're fighting a tank, you don't know what they are anymore at this point. They could be a CC person or whatever, so then you have to be prepared. If you're somebody who can't deal with the CC mitigation issue, then you're going to probably be taken over by the tank that does have the CC mitigation, or the CC school. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
I think you're right, though. It is going to depend on whatever encounter you're going into or whatever you're doing, kind of what you're going to want to bring with you. So we'll see. I don't even know what I want to do. Now I'm excited again. I think I want to go tank and fighter as a secondary, maybe.
Ooh. Okay, so Sir Unsington says, Steven says something. it got moved. So something pretty clear though. The design behind augments is not just to change the flavor so that it reflects the secondary archetype, but is also fundamentally changes the core components of a skill. Thank you, Sir Unsington. So who's to say? Who's not to say an augment could add threat? Right, exactly. And I think that's what is an important thing to consider. And like, if you combine that with the 4 augment schools, then you're even more going down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, I want the tank secondary, but I want this school of augment. I feel like that would be very interesting. Divide the possibilities or multiply the possibilities even more. Hello, Dark Hazy. Dark Hazy says, I mean, I'm sure every class is going to have a counter. Probably, yeah. But I'm just saying, if you had a generic tank where you're like, okay, it's a tank, then they have all these generic abilities versus a specialized tank is more what the point I was trying to get into.
Yeah, so one question. I know Papa Frost said, do we know anything about how we'll be able to change secondary archetypes? Someone already covered that and responded back. You know, be able to change it in the nodes. Now, after that, it gets into, you'll see, Sir Ensington said basically same. We shall see. I do like the true archetype to take the lead myself as well. And then precisely even off tank, I prefer someone who chose tank first. Now, the question being, when it comes to a raid, is do you really need an extra tank running around? Like a tank running around? When most of the fights don't require it? No. How about when all you have is a couple ads? Do you really want someone to be doing nothing but tank stuff? Like that's all they can really do because they're a tank. They're just a tank. You really want to fill that raid spot for one boss in a raid?
Yeah.
Or do you want to have somebody who can fill the role because they can, say, take some augments from the mitigation and threat schools as a secondary, fulfill their main job as a hunter or whatever, and then also be able to off tank and absorb some damage and piss off some things in the right circumstances. Yeah. And that would be their job as the secondary tank. Because Snickers even said, oh, sorry, you go ahead. Sound like something got you there.
No, I'm just giggling at Snickers saying you gangsta till you have to kill a tank in PvP.
Yeah. But because that also leads into Snickers comment. You won't get threat generation from tank augments because Intrepid wants to make sure the main tank has to be the tank primary. This is true. The tank primary is going to have the best of all those, but those schools will be loanable as a secondary to someone else with some diluted effectiveness and specific effectiveness. So they're not going to be as good, but they'll be able to do the stuff. Like all the same stuff will be able to be done, just nowhere near as well. Because they're going to be a mage, which is by its primary class or primary archetype is going to have low health, right? That's typical mage. Yeah. Remains to be seen with ashes, but that's typical, right? So if you give all the mitigation and threat that a normal tank has, it's still going to be a suboptimal main tank because it's going to have a low health pool. No matter what else you do to it, it's already going to not work well. So I think that's where the augments are going to come in.
I feel like a lot of people here know what threat generation is. I'm going to just put this out there just in case you don't. I don't want to take away from the conversation, but somebody did not know what threat was. If you also are curious about what threat is, that thread is a great place to go because Leo the Elder also did not know. And so they created a discussion and so on and so forth. But I didn't want to take away. I just wanted to share another resource. I just want to say thank you guys so much for giving your thoughts and stuff. This has been really interesting. I know I don't have too much to offer and my stuff may sound way off base. Please take it again with a grain of salt. I am not a tank. I don't play tank. I play heals and I play support. So everything, I'm just trying to contribute to the conversation and put ideas out there. But everything I'm talking about, I really honestly just don't know. But that leads me to the dev question discussion, which is for people who prefer to play the Tinker Girl, you two, do you enjoy holding threat as a prevalent part of combat? Would you prefer threat mechanics to be part of the combat initiation or throughout the entire duration of combat?
I enjoy having it as part of the combat. Again, I don't want to have it as like the main thing I need to focus on. I don't want to have to be spending all my time trying to pull threat and stuff. Like, oh, didn't see all these mechanics happening because I was too busy chasing the boss around trying to get threat back. Mm-hmm. But I also might just be a noob, so that's entirely possible. Yeah.
Or just playing the wrong tank class. I don't know.
Yeah. So for me, I think the threat mechanic should be a part of the entire combat for a couple different reasons. If you seek combat at the beginning, or you seat it at the beginning of combat, and then you don't have to worry about it, that gets rid of a lot of dynamic gameplay that can happen during that combat. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't tank swap at that point unless you literally steal the other person all their threat. But if you seat it at the beginning, then the only way you're going to get threat back is by stealing it back with a taunt, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no way, like, if they die, like, your threat generation at the beginning means nothing.
Right.
Is it going to go after just random everybody? Like, how's that going to work? It's got to be throughout the entire combat. Now, the way it can work is if people give the tank a minute, like 5-10 seconds to seat their threat, they can seat their threat and just grow it from there, and then it will get to a point where the tank can kind of ignore the threat generation portion for the most part, because them casually tossing in some threat generating skills here or there is going to still keep them ahead while they focus on other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Head start is kind of nice.
Yeah, I agree. Dark Hazy, I've been having a little bit of that issue in the beginning before Vertec got more threat generation. But yes, I would heal and then I would take threat almost immediately. But I've learned to back off a little bit. But I want to grab from Strauss. Welcome in, Strauss. Something Strauss had said. By the way, guys, again, if you just want to highlight what you want to say and it'll pop up into our thing that we can put on screen, just click the highlight message redeem and it'll go straight into our little holding cell for messages. But Strauss says threat should be involved during the entire combat, but not all of the combat. Mitigation, mechanic interaction need to be part of it during the whole fight as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So the general feeling I'm getting from you guys is throughout the combat and not necessarily just at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I could kind of see a negative impact is what I'm trying to say with it beginning, because that might have a fall off, right? So if you get all of the threat at the beginning and that's just how you get it, I feel like there could be a fall off, and that if somebody is doing something to steal, like, sure, I might get mad at you if you yell at me in my face, but if that's how we're going to act like this, and then there's somebody off in the corner insulting my mom with mom jokes, I'm going to turn my attention to that person. I'm not going to be focused on the first person that yelled at me. I'm sure I'll be mad at them, but then I'm going to turn my attention to somebody else. And so that's the best way I can think about tanking. But I feel like throughout, keeping that focus, keeping that engagement, I think would be much better.
And honestly, like Sneckers just said something. Absolutely. I main tank. I will always play tank. In every single game. That will be my core desired role to fill. I don't need to deal a ton of damage. Even in PvP, I don't need to deal a ton of damage. I want to be the protector, not the destroyer, you know?
Right.
I want to be the thing standing in front of people, taking, hits to the head so that they don't have to. I might need to retire to a simple life after a couple raids, because my skull may not be able to take many more hits, but that's my role. That's my role.
Yeah.
I take damage, I don't deal it.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Also, part of that same thing, at least on their Twitter, Asha says, keep an eye out for our next dev discussion topic regarding training. So that's a little bit of a heads up for you guys. And going into the final topics of the day, how difficult do you think it should be to take down larger foes? And this is accompanied with their Graveyard Golem snippet from the November live stream.
So larger foes, are we talking like an elite mob or like a world boss kind of larger foes?
That's a great question. I think they're talking about maybe just giant comparatively to you. Larger,
okay.
because the thing they have before that is the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And I feel like, maybe a little bit more of a clarification there could be helpful in what kind of feedback they're looking for specifically, but I'll take either personally.
All right. Because, like, say if it's something more along the lines of like an elite mob and you've got a group of 5 people, say, I think that should only take a couple minutes, not be... I mean, if you're going to solo it, okay, that's going to take some time and some skill, but if you've got a group with you, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. But if it's something more along the lines of, say, a world boss, I'd be okay with some of these fights taking, 15, 20 minutes for a group. But that might just be me.
I could see that for some of the world bosses, especially. Let them stay up for a while. Just take some time to kill them. Make it an actual world objective. It's going to be up long enough for somebody to make it from. I mean, literally halfway across the map, they could still make it to the battle. As long as they hear about it instantly, they can run their happy butts all the way over there and at least get in a couple of hits before it falls over. If it's like a monstrous enemy, but. I think that's saying the bigger they are, the harder they fall. A lot of people use it as the bigger they are, the more it hurts them when they hit the ground because they fall from so high up or something. But no, literally, the bigger they are, the harder it is to make them fall. That's how it should be.
I can attest to that. I'm quite a big dude, so when I fall over, it hurts. I can verify that.
No, it doesn't show automatically, but it automatically puts it in our bank of topics to then put on the screen. So I don't have to hunt for like all of the things I want to put up. But yeah.
You're asking for it here.
I love it.
Man.
But yeah, I think
Snickers.
Yeah.
Get the quote wrong. So the bigger they are, the harder to convince you to go outside and work out and stop being fat in front of the PC. Oh, lordy.
I saw that. But I mean, it does kind of make sense though, because like from my perspective, if I fall and hurt myself because I'm 4 foot nothing, almost not even like 5 foot, but if I fall, I get hurt a little bit. If Vertec falls, his impact is harder, right? But like, I that's taking the literal sense of it. But the idea, I think, should be maybe the harder it is to kill them because of how much bigger and more powerful they are, I think. Because somebody who's a giant, right, should be kind of hard to take down compared to somebody who's the same size as you or smaller. You can squish an ant, but like, I'm not saying do this, but have you tried attacking a Komodo dragon? That thing's kind of big.
Yeah.
So,
it's true. Yeah, it's nice. It would be nice, sorry, if it took some time, because that gives, like Vertec said, gives time for some friendos to make it in before it's down. Also gives time for other guilds or other groups to come and contest.
Yeah, because there is no fast travel. Right.
Yeah.
So on to the random other parts of the topics. Hair customization in Ashes of Creation. This is a side topic because the person did not know that there was a primary thread at one point. But what are your thoughts on hair customization?
Unpopular opinion, I couldn't care less.
That's fair.
I'm going to be wearing a helmet. Character customization, as long as now someone called me out on this. I think it was Snickers earlier. As long as I can go max height, max weight, we're good. That's all the customization I need.
Fair.
I like playing around with my character. I don't usually go in too much after the fact, like after the character's been made and I've been in the world for a while, unless I find like the one thing like, oh, that's amazing, I need to have that thing right there right now. Yeah, hair customization and all that, it's important to me right off the bat, and then down the line only kind of if it's really impressive.
That's
That goes for any kind of visual customization though, until I just get tired of how I look.
Yeah, so like I care more about gear customization, like transmog, than I do about like actual character customization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the things, I think it's Foxfire. Please let me know if I'm wrong. Foxfire says customization becomes way too much of a focus for developers, and I could see that. I think it's maybe nice to have a set of initial customizations available, and then maybe implement more customization in the future. But I will be devil's advocate, and on the opposite side, I absolutely love customization for my characters. I'm the type of person that will spend, at least if I had the freedom to, hours. Like when I played Sims, I spent hours just on Sims customizations. And I am also the type of person that I sometimes like to, preferably, I will hide the helmet because I like the way my hair looks, or like in this case, my horns. And so I am the type of person that periodically I'll just, pop over to the World of Warcraft barbershop and get a different hairstyle, or like change the hair color a little bit. And I like being able to do that because it kind of refreshes the character, and it makes it feel like getting an IRL haircut makes you feel like, ooh, I'm looking sharp. I don't know. Maybe that's a girly thing to do. I don't know.
I don't even use the hide helmet option usually.
No.
I've tried it a couple times. It just feels weird being a tank not wearing a helmet. It's like that's not safe, bro. Like you gotta stop
It's not
that.
safe. But let's see. Yeah, see, Snuckers is kind of with me too, and I see that Basil is. And yeah, Dark Hazy basically said what I was hinting at with like World of Warcraft and other games have done, like add more at the barbershop in game. But Snuckers says, I will spend 3 hours in character creator. I'll probably go without any helmet, maybe some assassin hood, we'll see. I think this first head art of the Pyra is so beautiful. I would love to play that. I disagree. Most of the character creator was focused on by the art team, in terms of the devs spending too much time on it. Not much programmers spend time on it. Intrepid is working on multiple systems at once, but for us, it looks like CC gets too much focus because it's easy to show progress to the players. And I agree. The arts content is pretty easy, and coming from a developer's perspective, web developer, albeit, once you write the code that says, hey, when there's a new whatever option, make that a drop down as an option. So if you have like 5 hairstyles and you add like 3 more, it'll automatically add the 3 more. So the developers don't really have to do anything else with that. It's just automatically working. All they have to do is make sure that it is working and fix any code. But yeah.
I don't know. I probably will spend 20, 30 minutes in the character creator, but then that'll be the last time I'll see the character. So
yeah,
couple screenshots just for fun, and then cover it in steel, and off I go.
Cover it in steel.
Yeah.
Nothing says more like your healer in your backpack. Oh my gosh. Why did I just get Demon Slayer mental image with his little sister in the bag?
Yep. Just climb on in. We're going.
But yeah,
sweet.
In general, I've been of the opinion that I'm sure Intrepid is further along in multiple different options or parts of the game that we aren't seeing yet because it's not perfected yet. And what we are seeing are what they have perfected. Who knows? Maybe it's been perfected for a month or so, and they've already are on the tail end of perfecting something else. We don't know that because we don't work in there. But yeah, that's just something that I was considering.
Yeah.
And kind of looking at the time here, this last one is just not really all that important. It's just more like talking about UI and things like that. And it was basically talking about like what aspect of UI or UX design gives you the most immersive and entertaining experience, as the question being posed. So,
Yeah.
Very subjective one.
Yeah, exactly. UI. Honestly, probably just hotbars. Like, sometimes the hotbars annoy me.
Yeah.
And so I just like them to be kind of easy to customize and easy to sort of manage and place wherever I want and in whatever shape I want.
Yeah.
I'm simple that way, you know. I just like to be able to make it look like I want it to look.
Yeah, Sulfur and I ended up grabbing a couple of your topics. You had some really good topics. Sorry.
Indeed.
Continue.
That was all I had. Yeah, Vertec, okay. What do you got?
I think the most impactful thing really is the customization of the UI, just being able to move it and scoot it around how I need it. Like there's a lot to be said about the art and the finesse of everything when it comes to making it appear of high quality, yet kind of fade into the background when you're not looking directly at it. There's a lot to be said for that type of art. So it's not all like neon colors and stuff like, here's your health, but you know where it's at and you can look at it if need be. And when you're not looking at it, it disappears. But I have particular ways that I prefer things to be set up, and particular ways I like to move things kind of out of the central field of view off to the bottom and sides and top even. Honestly, one thing I've liked doing with like ElvUI and WoW is I always liked putting the my target's health bar, because most of the time I'm raiding, right? I'm not a big PvP person, but I'm big on raiding. And when I'm raiding, I like the boss health to be a big giant bar at the top of the screen, and right below it is all of its buffs and debuffs and a big old cast bar. So I know when I gotta kick something, when I need to interrupt, I got the focus target over there with the same stuff, but I need a sign to pop. Nice. So you got the autograph. We gotta screenshot that forever. Yeah, it'll be worth money. Yeah, I like the customization part. To me, makes it more immersive. I mean, no matter how well they design a UI, I have yet to bump into one game where I wanted to just leave it as the base UI. Never once that I can recall have I ever been perfectly happy with it.
Same.
Yeah, I also am with Vertec. I like to very much customize my skills and everything. I was actually thinking in my head, because I often, as some of you know from PGN's channel, pop in and we do our best to kind of chat back and forth. But when I was watching today, PGN was talking about the 21:9 monitor size and if Asha should support it. And I was thinking it wouldn't be a problem provided that they actually follow through with the customization, because you can take it from being on the very edges of your screen, the mini map and the player toolbar like you see in the gameplay video, and move it into being more center attention, so that way you're able to keep most of the attention towards the middle. But again, to Jalon's credit and the point that he made, it depends on if they stretch to fit or if there's actually more visibility by using a 21:9, and that remains to be seen. And I'm not really sure what Intrepid's stance is on that, so I can't really speak to that. I also don't even have one, but I think Vertec does. So
Yar.
Yeah.
More visibility because of it, please.
And
pay to win right there.
But Sir
Keep those
Unzington
curse words out of your mouth.
Had an interesting topic or response, saying that the second monitor for UI for character stats would be legit. So I guess like a browser type of UI window, I can slide off to the other monitor. That'd be kind of cool. Be able to pop it out of your game and put over a different monitor. But yeah, ultimately, right, what Jalan was saying would be cool to have is some black bars on either side and being able to put your chat into that black bar section on a 21:9 monitor and get it out of your game image. So, but keep the 1080p in the center. So 2.5 on the left, 2.5 on the right.
Technically, that does give you advantage of visibility because then all your UI isn't covering up anything on the screen at all. So nobody can accidentally sneak up like wherever your, I don't know, item bars are on the right side. You wouldn't miss that movement.
Yeah.
Even that would be...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to finish up just by saying that even that would be an advantage.
Yeah. I feel like there's, again, to Jalan's point, there's tons of different advantages. There's better PC advantages. There's living close to a server advantages. There's tons of advantages and disadvantages, but I think at that point, like, it'll be like one of those things where it almost won't make a difference because if it's anything like LVUI, you can do an on hover, so the chat will go away until you hover over the chat. But also to Solverin's point, having it the way that Jalan mentioned, it would be safer for streaming because then you can focus, since Twitch is not optimized for 21:9, you can focus on that 1080p 16:9 with the gameplay being the focus of it, and then have the chat and stuff on the side, black bars that's not being shown on screen, just in case someone in chat's being a little unsavory in the game.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to do. It's gonna be impossible to stop every little bit of pay to win when it comes to real life stuff, right? Because like you could stop people from having coffee, you could stop people from having like a proper diet, you could stop people from exercising because they're paying for that stuff, and they're gonna do better at the game because of it. Like, yeah, real life stuff is pay to win. But yeah, if I buy a bigger monitor because I like the more immersive feeling of having it wrap around, I lose all that immersive feeling if I have to stretch the same like 1080p across like a 180 degree view because I bought two big old monitors. But at the same time, there's only so much advantage you can get with that much visibility because you're not going to be able to see all of that.
Yeah.
Knickers.
Well, fight. Let's do it.
But yeah, I agree. Stretching it would be really silly. It would also, in my opinion, ruin the aspect of the game. Like it would make the art look bad, the game kind of look bad, in my opinion. And it's just because when you stretch an image, it doesn't look as nice as when it's the original aspect ratio. So yeah, you may not even be kidding there, Snickers, but I'm not even drooling, I promise. No, I mean, I am. I kind of want one of those. Just saying. Does that mean I win? I have a C2. I like it. I have 2 4K monitors, but I got them on super sale, and then we recently were looking at maybe replacing one of them, and they were like way up in pricing. So I got them well before they became the big thing, I guess, for that brand. So I got lucky.
I think mine are both 4K. Yeah, they are.
But I don't play with that. That's a bedroom TV. I see. But yeah, I think if it's anything like LVUI has, there's a mouse over thing where you can hide it, so you do have that visibility. I think that would be kind of cool as an option because, again, I don't always want chat on my screen. I only want chat if I have to pay attention to chat. Otherwise, I'd like to know what's behind the chat screen. But also as a streamer, I like the ability of doing the hover over to see what's going on.
But just still.
Well, that's definitely part of the customizable UI thing. I'd like to just remove it altogether.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just, out gathering, like, all right, maybe I'll bring it up and chat. But if I'm raiding or something, I have no use seeing a chat box.
Yeah. And I do also like having the ability to I guess shard out your chat. So like having specific things like when you're out collecting gatherables, that'll be like a little note of like what you gathered at that point, And so that will be a separate window from the actual chat window. And I think that would be nice because then you can kind of keep track of what you're collecting if you're trying to get X amount of materials for something. Makes it a little bit easier to keep track of that instead of like scrolling through all of the chat. But yeah. I think... Sorry. Do you have anything else to say to add to it?
Just customization of a UI is just, to me, it's the most immersive and I don't know, satisfying thing about jumping into any kind of UI UX stuff. Just you're never going to get everything perfect for the way I love it. The best you're going to hope for is like the art I think is amazing, and I don't want to skin that. I just want to move it. Mm-hmm. That's the best that I've seen a game come, and that's not saying like they're all terrible so much as I always find something where I'm like, God, I need to move this thing because it's in a terrible position, or its size too big. It takes up the gigantic section of the screen that is perfect for not having that.
Right. That makes sense. Customizable tabs on the chat window for that. Yeah, but I also like just pulling it out completely so I can choose what's staying up and what's hiding until I mouse over it. But to continue over into what used to be fan focus, I'm changing it over to community focus as a name. While Vertec gets some other things set up, I wanted to share out this video because we had Azriel on at one point, and Azriel did a 2022 end of the year video of their own. If you're interested in checking that out, I know a lot of content creators did that. Wow, that's actually really neat setup there. Thank you for sharing. And yes,
delicious.
To that point, our I believe our links are for subscribers only, or at least people that have viewed us for a very long time. But that looks awesome. Thanks for sharing. But I want to say congratulations to Maggie for getting at the beginning of this year, on top of it, Director of Communications. I will say cheers to that. Because that's after 4 years. I mean, I feel like she deserves it.
Yep.
So congrats for
she
that.
She deserves everything.
Yeah. Honestly, we saw a really big difference between before she joined and after she joined in terms of the direction and the information being put out. It was a bit more concise and brought together versus kind of random and Steven just trying to share information but not like having it organized as much. So yeah. But I think she's done a very good job running things, and she even wrote like a little synopsis on what that means for Ashes of Creation, or Intrepid rather, as that. So yeah, I could feel that, Foxfire. I've noticed we're like, we used to make the joke that Steven can't talk about stuff unless Maggie says it's okay, because he wants to.
Yeah, the leak memes started and Maggie had to come in and shut that shit down.
Yeah.
Like, Steven, stop it. I know you sign my paychecks, but stop it.
So Sneckers, our VTubers are actually by a VTube artist named Max Asada. And let me go grab his stuff because I plan on redoing the About section to have a lot of the links in there. And our background is actually by another Phoenix person within the Ashes of Creation community. Not Phoenix Fire, though.
So many phoenixes.
So many phoenixes. But they actually have been around doing other arts for Ashes. Supreme Phoenix, they're the ones that have made the little caravan with the sandal and like the starting portal, those things.
Supreme Phoenix. Now I feel bad about myself.
Getting downgraded
his
without
name,
even trying.
Not my title. His name.
Yep. Damn. Feels bad.
Feels bad, man.
Yep.
But yes, let me grab Max Asada off of here. I will actually share you guys out the specific link if you guys are interested in. This is all thanks to your guys' support. We have been able to, whoa, that's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna remove half of that because I know what to remove. There you go. But yeah, another question is why you switched to VTube style to match the overall art style. Actually, the art style is being swapped to match the VTube style. We don't worry, you guys, you got the fire. Yeah, you got the fire of the Phoenix.
Yeah,
so I mean,
hell yeah.
but we wanted to go after, in my opinion, and this is hard to express because this is to me what a D&D-esque art style would look like in my head. But it fits a variety of things, and there's not really any realistic VTuber models, really. It's all very artsy and cartoony, but I wanted to go for more of a Western art style versus the Eastern art style, aka not so anime looking, more like Western style of art. So we ended up doing that, and then that was very different from our more realistic background overlay. So we've been working with Supreme Phoenix to make a background that fits the VTubers a little bit better. So you don't want to look like you're 9. I love me some anime. Don't get me wrong. I love me some anime, but that's not what I was going for with my character. And I know Ashes is also more of a Western styled game, right? So it fits much better, and who knows what the future will hold. But in the meantime, this is what we're going with, and it feels like a better representation of who we are within the Gold Feather Tavern. So you get a little bit more of a well-rounded experience here that we want you to feel. So are you going to create AOC Guild TGF? Go ahead.
Guild? That I don't think we've really talked about making a for serious guild. If we did make a guild, it would probably end up being people who wanted to be wait staff and whatnot at the taverns that we put inside the game. So that it would be a very limited purpose guild. We wouldn't be raiding as TGF Tavern.
Yeah. But it might be for roleplay purposes, I think.
Yeah. That
Sorry,
sounds fun.
Yeah, right?
Sounds like a great place to hang out with my alt.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe not your main thing, but maybe an alt kind of hangout area. Yeah, it's my number one major nitpick on Eastern art. Things like Final Fantasy, the cutesiness. It's a word. Yeah. Well, I like it. It's definitely a preference. It's definitely something that you have to prefer or like to get into. I absolutely get that. But I've just always loved anime, so I don't mind it. Guilds have drama. Taverns are a neutral place of interaction. Absolutely.
Taverns have more mead too, typically. Yeah. So
hell yeah.
Tends to keep people more chill.
Too much mead equals bar fight.
True.
Not enough mead equals bar fight. There's a balance.
Yeah, you got a happy medium.
True. Yeah. Also for our Dwarven fans, PGN Music has announced that he will be releasing a Dwarven Tavern track, so be on the lookout for that coming out soon, from Paradox Gaming Network Music. And finally, there's this art piece by Savazel, where they had drawn a dragon, and it looks pretty neat to me. So yeah. I'll try to make a Geralt from Riviera. The Witcher 3 style is my alt. Mage Fighter. I'm wondering how it'll go. It'd be interesting. Definitely.
Mage Fighter. I like that.
But the dragon looks really cool.
Mage Fighter is spell sword?
I think so.
Yeah. That's one of the combos that I was kind of eyeing up again for like an alt or something.
Yeah.
I was about to say, would a fighter mage be more accurate? But then I remembered, I think the Witcher 3 lets you kind of gear more towards becoming the caster as your core stuff too. So I guess it works that way too. Also,
did you know Witcher 3 released a 4K version? So they're much more updated graphic wise.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to play it again.
I know, right?
Because I never even fully beat that game. I got a good portion of the way through, like 3/4 through or so, but that'll give me an excuse to start playing it again.
Probably not on stream though. Just
Yeah,
bathtub scene.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's gonna be some fade to blacks during that stream.
It'd be more
So,
like
yeah, guys.
Fire Sword.
Just so you know, I'm still here. I just had to do a fade to black real quick. It was an emergency button because, well, there's a reason you can't hear the audio either.
Yeah.
Oh man, some games just not stream friendly. Also, before we wrap up, I wanted to make some announcements. Again, to reiterate from earlier, we asked for feedback on our episodes being listed as we found some issues, and unanimously, you guys said list everything, so that's what we're going to be working on. The reason we had to ask for that is some of the quality, I don't know, I think something happened with the hard drive. Something happened, and it's fine before we render the video. After we render the video, it gets desynced as the video goes on, and we've tried everything we can over the last couple of days, so that's why we haven't been posting anything, but we can't really seem to fix that problem on our side. So we asked, you guys still want to see it, so we'll put it out. We're probably going to up it to 3 days, three a day, to catch up, but we will put a little announcement thing like, yeah, we know it's desynced, we're sorry, but at least you can still hear the video.
There's definitely gonna be a little text notice like, yeah, it's jacked up. We know. Don't bother telling us it's jacked up. We know. We tried to fix it. It's still jacked up. We tried for 3 days straight to fix it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the headache
Tried
that I got on that first
every trick we
day.
could find. Then it just will not work. So,
Hey, wait, more comments are good for the algorithm. Don't put a notice. You want all those comments down there.
give us all the comments, exactly.
Yeah. Even though 50 of them are the same comment over and over. It's fine.
It's fine. And then the other thing, yeah. Sorry, we're trying to fix it. But the last thing I wanted to note before doing the wrap up was we are expanding starting next weekend to do more streams, more of the days. So we will be live each day, Friday through Monday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, at different variable times of the day. So that way it's a little easier for those of you in different parts of the world to kind of catch up with us. But we're going to be doing our Friday night podcast like this. And then that'll be 7 p.m. as always. And then Saturday mornings, I will be doing Coffee Quest, where I will be playing some sort of MMO, probably Classic WoW, maybe some Guild Wars 2, but eventually, hopefully, maybe some Ashes of Creation. But I just kind of want to play some video games and wake up with you guys and chat. It could be about Ashes, it could be about the game, anything you guys want to chat about, provided it's appropriate. And then Sunday is our, hey, if you say, literally ask me anything, you get some very interesting questions.
Fair.
But
yeah, it's true.
Sunday will be our parlor games day, calling it after Ashes of Creation's parlor games in the Tavern, where we'll be playing tabletop games, and primarily most of the weeks that will be me doing D&D. I'll be hosting and running a Call of the Netherdeep, and Vertec here will be playing with me, and we'll be live streaming it and recording it, and it'll be one of the things that starting off in the new year will be on time every week, because we'll be uploading it after to YouTube. So I think I have to wait about a day, which is fine, because I want to look at it, adjust the audio a little bit, just make it so it's not so harsh, and then put it up for you guys. So yeah, and then Mondays are going to be Tavern Talks, where we will just literally sit and chat about literally anything, almost. Again.
Yes.
Disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
But yeah, it could be about other video games. It could be about Ashes. It could be like, you guys can bring topics that you want to talk about specifically. If there's something that you've been having on your mind, nobody else has talked about, but you want to talk about it, bring it to us. We'll chat about it. But yeah, do you mind putting up the graphic that I sent you earlier with that info, just so that people can kind of see it as we head out?
Ooh, okay.
It's going to be a little bit different when I finalize it and put it up on Twitter. But by the way, if you guys have not joined yet, I think it's maybe socials. There we go. We have our new Twitter. And then we also have our Discord for you guys to come and join the conversation afterwards. And if you are looking to be a content creator, just like our friend Phoenix Fire over here, we have a content creator section that will be expanded upon coming soon. I will explain more later, but we want to see when you guys are going live. We want you guys to share your videos you're putting out, because it would be nice to have one central area and for us to act like that central community area for people to see what you guys are making and maybe have conversations about what you made and if people agree or not, and keeping it civil. But yeah, so we're hoping to finish putting out a content creator calendar so that you guys can see when people are live, etc. But yeah, nobody can beat Jay anyways. He talks 6 hours per day. Yeah.
Always finds a topic. I don't know how he does it.
He's
the superhero.
He is a walking Ashes of Creation dictionary. Like, you have a question on it, he knows. Especially with his Ashes 101 website. So yeah. Jalan is the fact person. If you want to know what the fact is about stuff, go to Jalan. But we are more of a community discussion podcast, and we like to talk about like what the community is up to and what the community is talking about in general and get your thoughts and opinions on it. So we are kind of literally the opposite. Thoughts and opinions using facts, but not quite so fact focused.
And we'll say I don't know more times in one episode than he probably does in about a month.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, wait, so we don't have to stick to facts here? So I can just throw it out here that...
No, I said using facts. Facts.
Oh, never mind then.
The tank should be removed.
Can't make wild predictions for the upcoming live stream.
Yeah.
For Ashes. Can't just be like, oh yeah, they're definitely giving us an Alpha 2 date this month.
I'd be like, you know what? That's quoted by Phoenix Fire. We did not say that. Phoenix Fire said that. So if you're mad, go to him. Pitchfork.
Go to him.
I'll take it.
Yeah. It was not a TGF direct quote. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ooh, this was a good episode. I can't believe it's already been an hour and a half.
Time does fly.
Oh yeah, geez, it's almost 9.
Yeah.
Nice.
The answer to when is Alpha 2 is always Monday.
Yeah, there you go. There's that graphic. I tossed it up for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I didn't put it up because I know you said you were going to maybe change some things and shuffle it, so I didn't want to put up an unfinished product.
I appreciate it. It just gives them something to look at because it has a little bit more detail than I wanted to put out, so...
Z,
Hi,
just
Z.
popping in casually.
Welcome to the end of the live stream.
just in time to say goodbye.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of, Vertec, would you like to take over the wrap-ups?
Sure. Yeah, well, thank you everybody for stopping by. Much appreciate all of the conversation today. So many people were dropping in different comments. So many people were dropping in different little questions and things and whatnot. We absolutely love that stuff.
We do.
And yeah, I can watch it tomorrow. Not even sure why I'm awake. It's okay. We miss your face around here. So every time you say hi, it's going to give us a smile. Just know that. Just know that.
Indeed. Snackers. Oh my gosh.
Whoa. Holy cow. No,
Thank
those
you.
are meat hooks. Thank you so much.
Hooks.
Holy mackerel.
Thank you. Snickers popped up and then... Okay. Yeah, I see what happened.
I thought the same
there.
thing because I saw Snickers' name and then the explosion.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you to both Snickers and Me Hooks because I believe Snickers did 10 earlier at the beginning because they won the PvP Battle of the Hill. So thank you guys so much. Easy to steal the credit. Yoink. Me Hooks, thank you so very much. We really appreciate that, friend.
Yes, absolutely. And
say cheers to you.
Yes. Cheers. But especially with also on the Discord, being one of the peoples that have donated in on some of the leveling of our Discord too.
Yes.
So
thank you so much for that, because that allows us to have content creators post better quality videos and better audio quality in the chat. So thank you so much.
Yes. It gives a lot of stuff for the Discord. We're that much closer to getting our, discord.gg/TGFTavern.
Yep, that is the goal for the next getting to level 3. We are about 7 boosts away, but getting up to that will mean that we can have a custom Discord URL. But also, just to throw it out there, no pressure on anything, but if you want to subscribe and you want to make the biggest impact, I would say Discord subscriptions, which is on our server, is the same price as the Twitch subscriptions, have a slightly bigger impact only because they don't take nearly as much as Twitch does. However, with Twitch, the payoff is that you get to use our lovely emotes everywhere on Twitch. And we've enabled the ability to do so on Discord with the Discord emotes. So just to put that out there. But Phoenix, do you have any final thoughts about today's live stream or podcast rather? Any takeaways?
I don't know.
Any closing thoughts?
Really just the one that tank is the best, and that is a fact. And fight me if you don't agree.
Okay, so that's another direct quote from Phoenix Fire is Alpha too soon, and it'll be nothing but tanks.
That's it.
Tanks with potato peelers. Yes, we got to skin those bosses.
Oh my gosh.
Oh lordy.
You have to be here earlier.
Yeah, you missed a whole lot of conversation.
Oh
my goodness.
My final thoughts are I'm excited to see how the tank stuff gets ironed out, and hopefully it'll be in a unique way, much like everything else has been with Ashes. And I think that's what they're trying to do. And if they can find a way to make the poor tanks not pay an arm and a leg after each PvE event thing, because I know there's not going to be close raids and stuff like that, that would be nice.
Would be great. But yeah.
One more thing I forgot to share. Sorry. Vertek and I were with Vladis on his 1v1, so keep an eye out for that.
Yes, definitely keep a lookout for that. Just recorded it, so not sure how long the editing and all that when it's planned to go up, but we were there. We stopped by, we said hi, we hung out for a good little bit over an hour.
Yeah, it's more like 1v2.
Yeah, it was a 1v2.
2v1.
But yeah, again, thank you everybody for stopping in here and hanging out with us. We will be having more episodes going up on the YouTube. As you saw, we have been putting a lot of them up. We hit that one roadblock and we sat there for days. Couldn't get it figured out, and people just basically said, hey, if the quality of the whatever isn't great, that's fine. As long as it's up there, then we can see it. So we're getting them up there for you. We're just gonna start turning them out. Either way, time, as I always say, is it's a commodity you cannot get back. Once you've spent it, it's gone. There are no refunds. And we wouldn't give a refund anyway because we're cheap. We're gonna keep refunds. But no, you don't get it back once you've spent it. You have spent it here, and we appreciate that, and we'd love to see you again.
Thank you so much for stopping by.
Oh, who are we gonna raid? Oh my goodness, who are we gonna raid?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, Chaos and Lace is live on the Ashes of Creation channel, or we have Tech Deck, who we've had on before. It's your call.
You know what else? Shoot, it's in a commercial, so I can't see what's going on with it, but Magfest is actually live.
Oh, right, Magfest.
Yeah, Magfest is actually live. I can't see what they're doing though, so it could be totally a weird hallway cam, and I don't know. Oh no, it's Muzak.
It's music.
Yeah, they're actually filming one of the bands on stage. Hey, so if you guys would like to see some video gamey, maybe not themed exactly, but because I don't know this band exactly, I don't know what they're doing. But they usually have video game themed music and stuff like that, or bands from video games, and that's what they're showing. To either that, we could jump over to Tech Deck. We haven't rated him in a long time.
Have not.
So what do you think, folks? Lost Ark or music bands on stage with nerdery?
Yeah. Go read him. I think I knew what you meant.
Why not?
All right, Tech Deck it is. Tech Deck it is.
All right, I got it. I'll get it going. Starting the raid up. Tech Deck is another content creator who's planning to do Ashes content as well, just like Phoenix Fire here. So please make sure to check out Phoenix Fire's YouTube, because I hear in about 6 months or so there might be some content there. Who's to say?
Yeah, so if you click on it and there's nothing there, that's not a mistake. I haven't started uploading anything.
So yeah, first backing here. You heard it here. There we go. Words.
Lordy.
They're hard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, tomorrow there won't be a coffee quest that starts next week.
Not tomorrow, but next week. Yes. It's actually under the events for the 14th, and I'm probably playing World of Warcraft.
Until then, folks. Oh, I haven't started uploading yet. No, we did.
Yep. We got from 76 to 94.
Yeah. We got to 94, and 94 is where we hit a bump. We'll get the rest of them going up. I think we're gonna have another one starting up maybe tomorrow or Sunday.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we're running out of seconds, so bye.
All right. Catch folks later.